presentation. So please welcome Carolyn Dougherty. Okay, so, oh, you've got your own widget?
Because I'm going to need it for that.
Oh, cool, okay. Well, you know, it's like Star Wars. Except they're both red, that's not, we need a blue one, don't we? Otherwise we're both on the... I'm going to move on. So, are you ready, Carolyn?
I am ready.
Okay.
Right, somewhat more academic start than most of these are. I am part of the surprisingly international contingent tonight. My name is Carolyn Dougherty. I am a civil engineer. I am from Berkeley, California, as you can tell. And I am a PhD student here at the History Department in New York. I write about 18th century freight transport, and off we go. In 2009, the Georgian group gave its award for the restoration of the Georgian garden landscape to Hardwick Park near Sedgefield in County Durham. I will not take all the credit for this award, but I will take a little bit of it. I didn't actually do all the hard work, which you'll see in a minute. We dug out the artificial lake, we restored several of the buildings, made improvements to the park, and constructed a new visitor center. While working with the clients, contractors, operators, the general public, and everybody else, I started to become interested in 18th century landscape design in general, and comparing Hardwick to the 18th century landscapes we're already familiar with. The gentleman on the right is Mark McIntosh, one of my architects who did a stellar job on the new parts of the work, including designing that viewing platform that we're standing on. The gentleman to the left is Keith Madison, who did the statue of Neptune, which is almost but not quite exactly between the two of them. That is John Burton, who bought the property in 1748 and spent the next 40 years creating the artificial landscape that we see now. Hardwick is a fine example of 18th century landscape design, comparable to Keynes Hill in Surrey, Stowe in Buckinghamshire, Stour Head in Wiltshire, and Studley Royal here in Yorkshire. Like its more famous counterparts, it's got all the attributes of an 18th century landscape needs. We have a fake abbey, we have a Roman temple, we have, what else have we got? An artificial lake, a cascade, a Gothic ruin. We even had a grotto at one point, but the grotto was filled in, unfortunately, some time ago and has not yet been restored. Unlike these parks, however, Hardwick provides the visitor a carefully designed, coherent, and emotionally gripping narrative experience, rather than simply a series of picturesque views like these other ones. And in the remainder of my time, I will demonstrate what I mean by that by taking us on a tour around the park. So we start here at the original entrance and walk about 7/8 of the way around the lake in an anti-clockwise direction. We enter the park through a forested area and encounter the Grand Terrace, with the lake on our left and the Manor House, now the Hardwick Hall Hotel, to our right. The formal line of the terrace is punctuated at the center by a circular pond overlooked by the Gothic seat, which offers carefully framed views of the lake. The terrace terminates at the Doric bathhouse, but once we walk beyond that building, we suddenly find ourselves in what at the time was a very scary, dense forest. It's not quite so dense now, as you can see, but it would have been a very disorienting experience at the time. And you'll notice that there were unmarked branching paths. So you wander around in the forest confused and lost for a little bit, but what you don't know is all the paths take you to the same place. You come out here and the lake has disappeared. To your left is the roaring cascade, and to the right is the sinister Bono Retiro, ruined for your viewing pleasure. Anthony Massington did the restoration work here to figure out what the building looked like originally. She knows him. We are not friends of Mr. Burton, so we're not allowed inside. So we don't get to see the impeccably perfect fake books on fake bookshelves, or the, I understand, obscene stained glass windows. So we cross stepping stones across the cascade and climb up the hill to the Temple of Minerva on the top of the hill for the views. Then we come back down again to stroll through a peaceful shady woods and across the Serpentine Bridge, from which to the right we can see a lovely natural view of the river here, and to the left, that statue of Neptune, and beyond it, the Gothic tower. Since I have a few extra seconds, or at least I thought I did, I want to show you one of Hardwick's design tricks. So if you stand at this bridge and you look in this direction, you see the river here, and you'll notice the carefully designed planting hides the fact that there is actually no more river past what you can see. So you walk across the bridge, you go through the woods, you get to the Gothic tower, which looks like the corner of a ruined building, so it looks like it was a much larger structure at one point. Back in the day, you could climb up there, but you can't now because there are bats that live up there. So you walk through the tower, and the only thing left, all that remains of our journey, is to continue to our final destination, the Corinthian Banqueting House, where we're brought in through a small back room, all the better to be overwhelmed by the dazzling interior of the main room. Here we can enjoy a snack and music, or at least we could at the time, before more company and patient for sight force us to quit this mansion of delight. We We know nothing of Burden's politics, political aspirations, or connections. And as far as we're aware, Burden never went on the grand tour, like so many rich young Englishmen who returned home and created ancient landscapes on their property. So his motives for creating this landscape remain a mystery. On our short walk around Harvick's artificial lake, we are first lured in by a conventional introduction, then disoriented, confused, frightened, elevated, calm, pensive and nostalgic, and finally dazzled by the grandeur and opulence of Burden's hospitality before going on our way. Of all the 18th century landscape parks still in existence, Hardwick uniquely offers a carefully crafted series of emotional experiences that are literal